And welcome to our Beltane tarot reading. I'm Isabel, Village Witch, and this is a reading for our community to offer us some guidance and support in this season of the year, both naturally speaking and uh, sort of this moment in the world speaking. Before we get into it, I just wanted to say that if you're watching this on YouTube, you can find more content to support you at Beltane, both on my YouTube channel, but also on my Patreon, which are linked below. And that I am a life coach. And if you're interested in working with me, you can also find information on how to do that and to learn more about my work in the notes below the video. Okay, let's get into it. Hello and welcome to our Beltane tarot reading. When I prepared these materials, I'm tuning into the energy of the season, both in terms of like what is happening in the natural world, flowers are blooming, trees are budding, but also in terms of what's happening in the collective energy in our I'm gonna see if I can prop this up a little bit. I did in the community space and what would be most supportive there. So with that in mind, I'm feeling a real need for guidance around how to approach, I'll just say, the political situation right now. And what I mean by that is I right before coming in here was reading a newsletter by a Substack writer whose Substack is called Aaron in the Morning. And that particular Substack is about trans rights and various attacks on trans rights that are happening right now. So, reading that letter was a giant bummer, and that newsletter. It's hard, right? Because it is empowering to understand what's going on in the world and to know what's going on. But I have been talking with friends and thinking a lot recently about um, the collective grieving that happens when we read the news. So, reading the news is something that we do in front of our screens, often alone, um, always alone, maybe. It's very rare for us to like do that in community and talk about how it's impacting us. I also think that would be a really cool thing to do. I've heard of people doing that to really positive effect. Um, But I want to use this time and space and channeling of guidance today to sort of recenter us and like, what the fuck do we do when everything feels really scary? And when it seems like, uh, there's a breakdown for me between what seems like ignorance and fear producing hate in large amounts of people. In this particular case, I was reading about anti-trans websites and message boards. And the hope that I have for our world, it's I don't want to fall into a nihilism or cynicism that gives up. Um, that's not a choice that I want to make. And so how to continue? I'm hoping that this reading will be hope giving and clarifying. Um, okay, I'm going to do a brief invocation of the directions and the elements that I associate with them based on my region. You're welcome to use this circle casting process. Try it out for yourself or make up your own version. Okay, welcome, East. Welcome, water. I am feeling into the water in my body. I'm tuning into the water in my geographical region. Welcome, South. Welcome, fire. I'm tuning into the warmth and heat in my body and the warmth and heat of where I live and south of where I live. Welcome, West. Welcome, air. into my breath and the air around me. Welcome, North. Welcome, Earth. I'm tuning into my muscles and bones and the earth beneath me. Welcome, above and below, and all of the in betweens. Welcome, collective universe. And welcome to my and our trusted ancestors and guides. Dearest Tarot, I am here to ask on behalf of the collective for guidance in this moment of watching the motion of the world and seeking balance and motivation and groundedness. I'm cutting the deck. The pile that wanted to be chosen was clear to me. I'm using the Queer Tarot by Ash and Chess, which I also used last time. And now I'm laying out our spread. And now I'm taking a quick picture of our spread. And now I'm tuning into our spread. Feel free to do the same. Okay. I'm going to start with the card in the middle. This position represents this moment, where we are right now, what's happening, what we're feeling. And it's the Queen of Cups reversed. Excuse me. The Queen of Cups is a card that's about the wisdom of emotion. It's about embodying a relationship with emotion where we're in collaboration and where emotion can bring wisdom. And it's a very watery card. It's a very flow based card, but it also holds the um, sort of awareness and groundedness of the queens, which are a card in each suit that really embodies this balance of openness and wisdom, openness and groundedness. And it's reversed. So this is a moment of real struggle of how to know, of knowing how to be in relationship with our emotions. It isn't a lot of clarity. We don't have a lot of clarity right now about how to be in relationship with our emotions in a way that's beneficial or even neutral. And I can testify to that it just in reading the news right before coming on here. It's like, how do I absorb what I'm feeling and allow it to flow through me without letting it decimate me? And I also want to just say that, like, if we're getting the Queen of Cups, there's also something that is truly wisdom based here. We're not just getting the opposite of the Queen of Cups in reversal. Reversals, the way that I read them, are about seeing the card from a different perspective. So this is a challenge that's happening, and we're going to have to connect to our emotional wisdom in a different way from how we usually do. So let's say our tools are usually, oh, I'm going to journal, I'm going to go for a walk. These are my tools. I'm going to allow my emotions to take up space in order to observe and understand them and relate to them better. Um, this Queen of Cups reversed is saying there has to be a different answer right now. We can't come at it from the front the way that we usually do. And I'm going to circle back to that, but I think that the other cards will offer us some support in understanding how to address our emotions. So I'm going to keep going. We're going to start next with where do I want to go? I'm going to go right downwards. We're going to go downwards to the below card, which is the foundation stone for this reading. What led us here? What is um, what's the word I'm looking for? The reason we arrived here. What are the reasons that we arrived here? And we have the Nine of Cups. We actually have a lot of cups. We have exclusively cups and pentacles in this reading, which is like balancing groundedness and emotion, that theme that I was naming right at the start. Uh, so the Nine of Cups below the center. The Nine of Cups is a card that's about enjoyment and pleasure and sort of like material uh jollity. It can often represent like feasting or enjoying really good food or having, a party. There's something social about it. There's something very Taurian about it, that it's like it's very enjoying of earthly pleasures. But there's something about the Nine of Cards, there's a nuance there that's like it's a pathway to understanding the world, using earthly pleasures and enjoyment as a pathway to understanding the world. So I'm going to say that that's what is leading, what if that's what's leading us to this moment. I keep crossing my fingers and my energy's like, girl, open that up. If we're using enjoyment as a pathway to understanding this moment, and that's what's undergirding the reading, then that's what's bringing us into tension around how to understand our emotions and how to relate to our emotions is a better way to say that. There's something about the material world and our perhaps our reliance on it, um, our reliance on material pleasures. I'm exploring here something about our relationship with material pleasures and this Nine of Cups um feasting energy that is causing a tension. I'm going to keep us moving because I think these threads are all going to wind. I'm going to trust that they're going to wind together. We're going to move on to the card to the left of center, which is the Ten of Cups. Comes right after the Nine of Cups. And the Ten of Cups, this position is about something, an energy in our recent past or an experience in our recent past as a community. And the Ten of Cups is about enjoyment and a coming together as a community in a way that is like, here you can see there's a family. I'm going to say that there are themes of chosen family, there are themes of celebration, there are themes of wholeness. And this is in our recent past. So open up. I think this is a reminder not to forget that this is in our recent past and that it's something we're able to draw on those memories for support. It's not that those things are over, it's just that perhaps this is a moment of collectively not feeling or seeing uh, our connectivity and our celebration as much, um, which is a weird feeling to be having as the flowers bloom and the leaves burst out. It's odd to be, I think that something really unique to this moment in time that we're experiencing is like a truly gorgeous spring juxtaposed with fear and despair. And that's, I think, like, that's what I really wanted to address in this reading is like, how the hell do we deal with that? How do we reconcile those things and understand how to be? And so this is something in our recent past, just to sort of keep an eye on the right in the rear view mirror of like, right, we have had that experience of connection and support and a feeling of family and a feeling of safety. Safety is never a guarantee, but there is a true nourishment that comes from being in supportive community um, that we've had access to recently. And now I'm going to move us over to the card just to the right of center, which is the Seven of Cups. Nope. Excuse me, I misspoke. The Seven of Pentacles. So we have cups leading into cups reverse, leading into pentacles. And then our last card is also pentacles. So we're really moving. I'm gonna lean into this pentacles energy to sort of be like, all right, how do we make sense of this reversed Queen of Cups, of this Nine of Cups that is offering us pleasure and flow, but also tension? And what do we do with this memory and knowledge of our connective joy? What do we do with that stuff? So, Seven of Pentacles, this card position is about things coming in the near future, an energy or experience that's coming around the corner for us. And the Seven of Pentacles is a really luscious card. It's a card in the Rider Waite deck, which this deck is based on. It's like a farmer looking at his pile of cabbages, all the things that he's harvested. Here we have this I'm going to say farmer. We have this farmer looking at all of these blooms and flowers that they've harvested, that they've grown. And there's a real energy of like self-satisfaction in this character that is different from the celebration, the like bursting out celebration of the 10, but that's really also really nourishing. But that's also really nourishing. And sorry, I'm having a lot come through. So I'm not sorry. Just taking a second. This is what we're looking towards to understand how to reconcile our emotions. And it's not like my first human intellectual thought is like, okay, let's look back at all the movements for civil rights that we've experienced, or perhaps, like the collective organizing that we've done. And I'm getting a pretty clear message that's like, that is too intellectual, it's too logical. This is about feeling how much we have been, how much we have been with each other, how much we have lived. Looking to that 10 of cups in the past and going, look at how full a life we have lived. Look at those truly successful moments of relating to other people, feeling love and receiving love. Look at those truly successful moments. I'm going to sit with that for a second to see if there's anything else there. I'm getting the ping to move on to the next card. Okay, the card above the center is our final card. Its position is it's like the outcome or where we're going to go if we continue on the path that we're on. I would say that the path that I have been like painting in this reading is like we are grappling with how to ground and be in relationship with our emotions. What the path is that process of grappling. It's looking to the past, looking to the future for answers. If we continue on this answer seeking path around these particular concerns, we're going to land at the reversed Three of Pentacles. And the Three of Pentacles is a card of creativity and a card of creation. It is in the Rider Waite deck, and this deck that's based on the Rider Waite deck. You see a sculptor, and then the people who are like consulting with the sculptor. Someone's making something, and people are working together to create something really tangible. And it's reversed. So we're asked to tune into that reversal energy again of like, okay, how are we coming at this from a different direction? And gonna pause. I'm actually gonna pause the recording for a second while I just like let the swirl of this reading really coalesce. Okay, I really had to sit with that. It took a minute of surrendering for the answer to come in, and I'm still like courting it and it's then clarity with it. But what I did was I pulled I was feeling stuck. So I pulled the bottom card and the top card of the remaining deck. And the bottom card is often like an underlying theme of the reading. And I pulled the Ace of Cups. And the Ace of Cups is about the the heart, the essence, the like most essential state of emotions and the subconscious and flow. It's a really powerful card. And then I also pulled the top card, which I'll usually pull to be in conversation with the last card in the reading to like help me get a little more illumination on it. And I pulled the Tower, which is about dissolution of structures that we have held on to in order to reach greater clarity. Short version. And I tuned back into what I have the energy that I've been sitting with this Beltane in general, which you can also find represented in my Beltane meditation. That what is needed now is not it's it's a it's a energetic simplifying and an energetic rooting and reconnecting with self. It's like taking this swirl of chaos and overwhelm and it's not something that can be totally described verbally, so I'm just going to do my best. But the energy is one of feeling into simplicity and focus in a cyclical way where we are, like my Beltane meditation is really about just like I'm not going to lead a complicated visualization. We're going to get back to basics. It's about returning to beginner's mind. It's about becoming the fool in the tarot who is just willing to see the world with fresh eyes and see what appears. And so, in this reading that's filled with tension between groundedness and emotion and the past and the future, I think the overwhelm of this reading is part of the experience that we're having. It's mimicking what it feels like to be a person right now and in our community in the world that most of the people that I'm talking to are living in. I think a lot of us are in the US. If you're somewhere else in the world and you're experiencing this also, I feel you through the web. And hi, that's exciting. So there's something, the solution is to stop trying for solutions. The solution is to let go and surrender. And that's an easy thing to say and a harder thing to embody and do and understand in our energies. The Tower and the Ace of Cups are offering some solutions. They ask the questions, where do you need to let go of looking at emotion intellectually and just sense it, sense back into it until the water is flowing clear, until you are connected with yourself and your emotions again. That's not quite right. Until you may not have intellectual clarity on your emotions, but you feel clear on them. So I think it's calling me out on the irrelevance of the questions that I was asking at the start of this reading, which are like, how can we wrap our heads around this? Scrap that. What this reading is saying is whatever intellectual and logical structures we've been using to try to gain control and understanding, the actual solution is to trust fall back into the universe. And I don't mean like do nothing. Surrender isn't doing nothing, but surrender is ceasing to comfort ourselves with familiar stories about control. And instead releasing those, this would be a great time for a releasing ritual. The ritual that I'm offering for Beltane is an air ritual. It's clarifying. There's release built into it. You can find that in the Village Witch's Garden, which I will include some more info about how to get there below. And it's about releasing, just doing the big out breath and really letting everything go instead of clinging to the last fragments, which is a very human thing to do. And then seeing what's on the other side. And that's where we will be able to create containers that allow us to find new and unexpected solutions. It's where we will be able to reconnect with our sovereign emotional wisdom. It's where we'll feel most connected to our emotional interpersonal successes and joys. It's where we'll most be able to appreciate ourselves. And it will, I think, reconcile that tension of worldly pleasures with emotional pleasures. This is like we're tied up in this knot trying to understand everything. And instead, it's time to just let go of the knot we're trying to untangle, kind of flush it out and see what appears in the void that is left. That was a wild one. That was a hard one. But in the end, the answer is like the simplest path. So I think that's a real lesson that often when we end up in the most complicated and confusing, tangled knots, the answer is not to keep fighting to solve them. It's something, it's surrender and practicing surrender, becoming in relationship with surrender, saying the word surrender so many times that you're like, that word has no meaning anymore. But what does it feel like to surrender and letting that be your guide? All right. Much love to you on this Beltane. I will see you here for another tarot reading on the summer solstice.